Thanks very much. So yeah, that was Ewan McCall. It's the centenary of his birth this year, and if you've not heard his name, you'll have heard some of his big songs. Two of his most famous songs were never really intended to be as big as they became. They were "Dirty Old Town" and "The First Time Ever I Saw Your Face." But songs like that interest us more. That came off the original radio ballad series, which were groundbreaking documentaries in the 50s. It was pretty much the first time that real working class voices were on the radio, and so and they were all based on different industries and lifestyles. So there was the Ballad of the Big Hewer, from which that song's taken, which is all about mining communities. And the idea was that you'd have interviews and snippets of fantastic anecdotes from miners interspersed with songs inspired by the anecdotes that the voices were telling.
So to be honest, we were hoping that maybe someone would have chimed in there with a working class voice and a bit of an anecdote. Never mind.
So we've got one more song, and then there's going to be a break. So refill your glasses.
Come and have a chat with us, teach us a bit about geography. Not you, my friend.
Local geography,
yeah. You're as bad as Google Maps.
And we've got some CDs with us by the door there. We've got a new album out. It's just come out a couple of months ago. It's called Another Man's Ground, and a lot of these new songs are on that album. We've also got all our previous albums as well.
Nice, we're optimists.
He said we're optimists.
I don't say that because it wasn't that good, so I just thought it was good enough for the first 3 rows. The more discerning people at the back. You know, you want to hear the good stuff.
We're not bad enough that you didn't have to say it at all.
No, exactly. Hasn't stopped you, has it? Right.
No.
Continue.
I will.
You said I will.
I shall. After the wedding here, wasn't it?
No domestics.
The script, the ink ran out at this bit in the print, so we haven't got the rest of the script. It just ends there on Sean's bit.
I'm just trying to get the mood, you know. They realise that when I talk at length, the story's usually sort of miserable.
I see.
Just giving them
What we really need is a sort of a transitionary bit of guitar or something. Mr. Hughes. My goodness.
To be fair, he hasn't been listening to the band. So, the final song of the first half, I think it's fitting to sing in a beautiful church like this. It's a song inspired by 2 letters. 2 letters that were both received by Mr. John Brewster just over 100 years ago in May 1915. And Mr. Brewster had a son, Jack, who was serving in the army in the Great War. And the first letter came through his door, and it was from a Captain Laird who described himself as his son's closest and dearest friend. And Laird had the great misfortune of telling Mr. Brewster that his son was missing. He'd last been seen charging alone towards the enemy lines, and there'd been no news of him for 5 days. And that was it. That was all he got. And imagine all the thoughts going through his mind. And then incredibly, 15 days later, another letter came through his door. And it came via Denmark. And the reason it did so was because it came from a German soldier. It came from Sergeant Egbert Wagner of the German army. And Wagner described how he'd found young Jack in a shell hole where he'd been lying for 3 days, completely disorientated, dying for a drink. And Wagner was a very religious man, and in fact the 2 letters went on to form the basis of dozens and dozens of sermons around that time, because Wagner that the symbolism of what he did wasn't lost on him, because when he found Brewster in the shell hole, Brewster later described seeing two arms coming down towards him, and in one arm was a loaf of bread, and in the other arm was a bottle of wine. And so they had bread and wine together in a shell hole 100 years ago.
Charged Brewster, charged the German line, but no support came from behind. He took a bullet through the thigh, and down he fell to bleed and die. Slept among the dead. He dreamed of an iron cross so fine, and at its foot bread and wine. Sergeant Wagner gave a sigh as the bones were piling high. Death had been to have his fill, but one corpse lay breathing still. My dear sir, I write with joy. By God's grace I found you, boy. We had him bandaged, stout and fine, and we ate bread, and we drank wine. And though the bullets fell like rain, sir, we were happy in our bed. Keep one wish till wishes cease, and my wish, sir, shall be unites you all. You needn't fight, you needn't fall. Eat my bread and drink my wine, and throw your rifles in